We have to talk loud, right?
Okay, like this loud?
Yes.
Okay.
This loud.
Loud?
Hi everyone, Janey here with Sadie and Shay today. They don't have camp this week, and they need camp this week. It's time for you guys to go to camp. It is summer break, and we are enjoying some time at home, but not enjoying the heat, right?
No.
It's been way too hot. Way too hot.
It's like 114.
I know. It's bad. It's supposed to get cooler this weekend, though, so we have relief in sight. So for today's video, we are doing Show Me Your Gardens Zone 6. And this morning, Sadie and Shay watched through all your videos that you submitted, and we picked out quite a few of the Zone 6 videos. We couldn't decide on which ones. There were so many good ones. So thank you all so much for submitting those. If you're not familiar with this series, what the series is I asked all of you viewers to send in videos of your gardens. And we're going zone by zone, USDA zones 10 through zone 3, so that hopefully you all can get inspiration from your own zone. So we're on zone 6 today. And the first submission is actually from Canada. I think it's Ontario, Canada? Hold on. Yeah, Southern Ontario, Canada. And this is Meagan's garden. So let's watch.
Of blue, burgundy, green, and chartreuse, which is like a yellowy kind of green. This is what it looks like later. It's about late spring, early summer, and then again in the fall, the color there, and the winter. So moving on to the front garden, this is the south-facing garden. On the one side, we have 3 tamarack or larch trees, which provide a little bit of a shaded area on the one side. I love the you enjoyed this tour, friends. Thank you so much for stopping by my garden.
Okay, what'd you girls think?
I love
That was amazing.
It was beautiful. So that's in Canada, right? That's so super, super far up north. So lots of snow in the winter, but so pretty, Megan. And your photography is absolutely gorgeous. So what'd you guys like the best? Shay, what'd you like?
the kitchen garden.
The kitchen garden. Me too. That's what I like the best. That's beautiful. I love the fence that you did, and I love that you're growing your own food. That's going to be so fun. What'd you like?
I really like the kitchen garden and the shade garden.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are both really pretty.
What about Maple?
Oh yeah, the maple's so cute.
So cute. Maple the dog. So, Megan, this is beautiful. You have your own YouTube channel. A Seasonal Abode is the name of Megan's YouTube channel. And if it's anything like that video, I think it's going to be great. So just as a reminder, if anybody has any socials, YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, I will link it in the description down below. Okay, the next garden that the girls and I picked out was Deanna's garden from Illinois. She lives in Normal, Illinois. And her channel is called Garden's Glory. Yeah, Garden's Glory. I'll link it down below. But go ahead and watch Deanna's garden. It's really beautiful.
Hi, Janey and friends. I'm Deanna, and I garden in Zone 6A in central Illinois. My garden is about 25 years old, and I've been basically working on it since then. We're currently making some big changes. We're taking out all the brick and putting in these rocks. And the reason we're doing that is this maple is spreading roots all over the place. So we're switching it so that I can little by little scoot those rocks out, kill the grass, make the beds bigger whenever I want, and the roots don't get in the way. Don't tell the hubby though. All right, so if I come to the front here, one thing I've always tried to do, or not always, but since I've learned to do better, I have really tried to incorporate different shades of green. I love lime and burgundies and blue green and whites and silvers. Now I'm going to show you my side garden, which I just did a couple weeks ago. So I'm pretty excited about that. So we continue the rocks around, and they go all the way to my garden beds. And these raised beds have potatoes, tomatoes, kale, some garlic. Now, something that's very special to me are these rocks, because these came out of my mom's garden. My mom just passed away about 5 months ago, and I have taken in so many of her things. I also like to grow a lot from seed. This is the amaranth that I grew from seed. So as I said, this is all new. I do have an Eden climbing rose over here, and I have 2 clematis on the trellis on this side. The neat thing is I have probably 18 clematis varieties, and several now I've gotten from my mom. So one of my favorite views is over the garden gate. And I really just love all these pinks and the purples and the limes. I've got some, I got the Helen von Stein lamb's ear janey because of you. So I just love this view from here. Now we're gonna go to the other side and see our backyard. Okay. Now we're back on my other side of my yard, and I really am excited to show you my side garden. I put a ton of work into that this year. So let's go on back this way. One thing that's kind of cool real quick, look at the, I had no idea that hen and chick would do that. I can't wait to see what it does. That's actually my mom's from her garden. So it means a lot to me to have her flowers in my garden, and she gave me a lot of little figurines and pots, and it really makes me happy. So here's my side garden right here. This Annabelle hydrangea on the left, I actually got at a plant sale with my mom for $1, and that thing just makes me so happy. It is just done amazing. I think it's its 3rd or 4th year. So this is what my side garden looks like. I have 3 trellises that match. The clematis on the left is a autumn clematis. The middle one is Jack Monii, and the last one is a pink one, and I can't think honestly of the name at the very, Nellie Moser, I believe. All right, so these plants right here, I would think a lot of you have probably not seen them before. These are called soapwort, and they grow wild in the South. And my mom gave them to me from my grandma's yard. All right, so we're gonna keep on going. So again, we're gonna come up here to what I always like to look at, which is over the garden gate. It's always my favorite view on both sides. So back here, I have really done so much work to try to get there to be lots of different colors, different textures. So I can't wait to show you. So first of all, on this side, I did a really big grouping of pots in lots of different shades or folias. And then all of the petunias, pretty much all of the petunias that you see, I actually grew from seed. My son used to say that I had no color in the garden. Well, I think I've gotten past that now. I spew that way, go back this way. And then this is my really big shade garden, which I still have some room. And so some of these things I just are annuals that I put in to add color. And then go a little further and show you that spot that I did from the gate looking the other direction. Well, Janey, this is my garden. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really appreciate your showing it. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much, Deanna, for sending that video in. It was so good. And you're right. Your son cannot say you don't have any flowers in your garden or color in your garden anymore. It's beautiful, especially your backyard. It looks like a mixed perennial border. What did you like about her garden?
I like the maple tree.
Maple tree in the front. That was really pretty. And what did you like?
The side garden was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Sadie actually made me stop and rewind so that she could see the side garden again. And the other thing I really liked about Deanna's garden is that she's taken out all that edging and replacing it with rock. And not only is that really pretty, but it's a really good reminder that gardens are just never done. Even 25-year-old gardens, we can still be working on it. It's just constantly changing, and it's the journey. It's not the final destination. So we loved your garden. We appreciate you sending it in. Thanks, Deanna. Okay, so next garden, we're headed over to New York, to Western New York, kind of the Buffalo area, and we're gonna go take a look at Gwen's garden.
Hi, Janey and Jason. Hello, YouTube friends. Welcome to my garden. My name is Gwen, and I garden here in a little country village located in the western part of New York State, which is near Buffalo, New York. And to the north of us, we have the Great Lake Ontario, and to the west of us, we have the Great Lake Erie, and so we get the famous Buffalo weather in the winter. I guess you can call my garden an old-fashioned garden. I live in a 100-year-old house, which has a big porch on the side, which I enjoy so much, and I have hydrangeas planted there, and lots of flowers that are planted in pots, dahlias just coming into bloom. It's just a really nice place to sit and enjoy the garden. Many elements of my garden are old-fashioned, like picket fences, and I love urns and topiaries. I have a lot of garden statuary. I like to use churches for garden interest and birdhouses. This is my little hexagon greenhouse. And Janey, I had to laugh at you when you were talking about your greenhouse. And is it called Canopia or Canopia? I don't know either. Anyway, this is the same brand as yours, only it's called the Hexagon greenhouse. And I actually bought mine off of Amazon. Right now in this part of the garden, we have daylilies and lavender and shrub roses and cephalaria. This is borage, which I love because when the flowers fall off, it just spangles the grass with all these little blue flowers. This is one of those old-fashioned flowers that just pop up here and there. It's calendula. I also keep a kitchen garden, and I just put the garden in recently, so it's just getting started for this summer. I like to grow small fruits in my garden, so I have a lot of little berries like these gooseberries and currants. These are all ripe right now. The blueberries are just starting. I haven't picked any yet. They're not quite ready. And so my garden is just starting. This is celery. Have you ever grown celery? I'm trying it this year for the first time. It's fun to try different things.
Well, that's it, gardening friends, and thank you so much for joining me in the garden.
Thank you, Gwen, for showing us your garden. My favorite part was your greenhouse.
You like the greenhouse the best?
I did.
I like the greenhouse the best too. Or, I don't know, I like the tutors too. You know, the big pyramids, right, in between the hydrangeas. I loved your garden, Gwen, because you're right. It does feel very old-fashioned and like a place that's been there forever. So super, super pretty garden. It was just, it was a relaxing video to watch. So I hope all of you in the kind of the same area or same zone as Gwen got some inspiration, because look at all those blooms she was able to grow. Really,
the flowers were really pretty.
Really
I love
pretty.
all the flowers.
Yeah, so pretty. All right, next one we have is a little bit different. This is Laura from the Purple Pumpkin Patch in Ashford, Connecticut. And Laura has kind of a different take on her garden, which I absolutely loved. So let's watch.
Hi, Janie. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura, and welcome to what I like to call my whimsigoth cottage garden. I garden in Connecticut, which is Zone 6, but admittedly, I am a zone pusher, so I like to garden like I'm in Zone 7. So we're in the back garden right now, which is my favorite place to be, but there's plenty more to see in the front as well. I started seriously gardening about 5 years ago, and I became obsessed pretty much immediately. I had always loved the look of cottage gardens, but my own thoughts kind of held me back. I knew what I wanted my garden to be like, but I would constantly think, well, what if the neighbors don't like it? What if we move someday and it affects the resale value? One day I just decided, forget all of that. I'm going to create the garden of my dreams, and I'm not going to worry about what might happen in the future. So here we are, 5 years into this wonderful journey called gardening. I created pretty much all of these gardens from scratch. When we moved in 10 years ago, there was a strip of hostas and a huge briar patch. Now we have a thriving garden full of all sorts of flowering plants, as well as shrubs and evergreens and all that good stuff. And I've managed to do it on a super small budget. I am very passionate about doing things as low cost as possible. I have two sayings that are my go-tos, and they are use what you have to make what you need, and also if it's free, it's for me. So I do a lot of DIY projects in the garden, including building my own greenhouse and pumpkin tunnel, and I reuse and repurpose things a lot. All of my garden beds are edged with stones that we already had on the property, or with little logs that we picked up for free. I also start a ton of my plants from seed. That's one of the best ways to save money as a home gardener on a budget. And I always go overboard every year with seed starting. but it's just one of my favorite parts of gardening for sure. I also consider myself a spooky girl, so I have been transitioning the garden to a more goth garden aesthetic. I absolutely love dark foliage plants like these midnight rose heuchera and this blackbeard penstemon, which I have been able to collect seed from in order to expand my collection. And this year I added some really dark blooms like black pansies and these gorgeous black bachelor's buttons. These starry sky petunias are an absolutely stunning container plant. And the black velvet petunias are beautiful as well. And they really do have a velvety quality that I love. But the biggest color that you will see in my garden is purple. I love purple everything. So any shade, any variation, purple foliage, purple blooms, purple everything. More purple all the time. While most of my garden is very purple-centric with touches of black, red, and blue, I do still have a space dedicated to more color. So this area is my rainbow garden, and it's still a work in progress, but it is coming along. I have been adding plants in sections, so pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and of course more purple. I try to add some touches of whimsy wherever I can in the garden. One of my favorite spots is of course the fairy garden, where I have some low growing plants like creeping phlox, sedum, and pansies interspersed with fairy houses and my experimental DIY mushroom planter. And just opposite, I have my witch's garden, featuring a fire pit turned cauldron planter that is overflowing with oozing creeping jenny, bubbling superbena whiteout, and flames of orange and red celosia. In addition to flowers, I also enjoy growing pumpkins from seed, and I am super excited about this year's pumpkins because I have dedicated a ton more space to them. And so far, the groundhogs have left them alone. Living in a rural area, we have all sorts of critters here. Deer, rabbits, chipmunks, and our resident groundhog even had babies this year, so they are running around and being adorable. As an animal lover, I really enjoy having a thriving ecosystem in the garden, so I consider them a welcome challenge. I love them. And over the years, I've just experimented with things like companion planting as a way to kind of deter them from eating the things that I don't want them to eat. As far as what does work in my garden, hydrangeas are for sure one of my favorite plants. We live in a super wet area, so they thrive here. I have over 25 hydrangea plants right now, and I'm always adding more. When they're on clearance, of course. Right now, I have the dark foliage eclipse hydrangea on the top of my wish list. For annuals, I've been trying to use more reseeders. So ageratum is a really good one that comes back every year and has adorable little pom-pom-like blooms. And also larkspur. The larkspur is absolutely beautiful and definitely one of my favorite plants in the garden. It readily self-seeds even in really tough areas like around my maple tree. And this year I've added a few more self-seeders like cleome and lollipop verbena. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if they will reseed themselves next year. And that's about it. Thank you so much for having a look at my whimsigoth cottage garden here in Connecticut. Thank you, Janey, for the opportunity to share this with you all. And happy gardening, everybody. Bye.
So see, Laura is creative, I will say. I loved it. First of all, I love that you've done it on a budget. I think that just is so great to show people what you can do, starting seeds, reusing materials. It's just wonderful to see. And what an interesting take with your goth cottage garden. I just love that. I just think it's so great. But my favorite was the witch's cauldron.
The witch's cauldron was
super cool, right?
Really cool.
Yeah, yeah. What did you like?
I liked all the purple in the garden, like all the purple plants and the salvia and the hydrangeas and all that.
Beautiful.
I loved it, and the stone and log edging to your flower beds.
Yeah, that was pretty. We could do something like that. What did you like?
I liked the fairy garden and the witch's cauldron.
The witch's cauldron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fairy garden's super cute. I love the mushrooms in there. But the witch's cauldron, oh my gosh, how cute is that going to be on Halloween? That is just so great. So huge thank you, Laura, for sending that in. I will link your YouTube channel and all your socials in the description down below as well. Okay, next garden, we're going back to Western New York. We're going to go see Jen, and her channel is called Pretty Little Garden, and she has a fun surprise on her front door wreath, just like we had.
Hi Janey, my name is Jen, and before I get started, I just had to show you the little baby robins that hatched in my front door wreath. Aren't they sweet? I live and garden in Zone 6B in Western New York. Thank you so much, Janey, for giving me the opportunity to showcase my garden. What grows well in my garden? Lots of different things. Hydrangeas, specifically panicle hydrangeas, spirea, sedum, daylilies, nepeta, heuchera, hosta, ornamental grasses, arborvitaes, junipers, and the list goes on and on. In terms of annuals, I love Supertunia, Gomphrena, Coleus, Verbena, pansies, and violas. What are my challenges in a Zone 6B garden? I would say my biggest challenge is the hard clay soil that we have. I have learned to work with it over the years, and I have found that amending it is very beneficial. I also struggle at times with the high humidity that we have in the summertime. What do I love most about my 6B garden? I would have to say it's the 4 seasons that we experience here in Western New York. I love the changes in the weather and the changes in everything around you, the colors that emerge. I feel like it helps your mental health after the busy months of spring and summer. It's nice to cool down with the temperatures and to slow down with the busyness. And it's just a nice way to, you can retreat and reflect and recharge and renew yourself. And then reemerge in the spring, hopefully refreshed and better. What is one piece of advice that I would give to other gardeners in Zone 6B? I would have to say it would be to embrace those 4 seasons, but also embrace your garden. Make the most of your own space. It doesn't matter how big or small your garden is. Bloom where you're planted. What is a plant I wish I could plant, but that just doesn't work? I really can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think the only thing I'm really thinking about is all of the annuals, those plants that are considered annuals in my zone, Zone 6B, that are perennials in your zone, Janey, and zones 9, 10, and 11. Sometimes I wish I could have those plants as perennials in my garden. Janey, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to showcase my garden. And please come and visit me over at my YouTube channel. It's called Pretty Little Garden.
Thank you, Jennifer, for submitting your video. I really like the clematis.
The clematis?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really pretty, Gwen.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
The robins on your front door wreath.
Were they robins? Is that what she said?
I think so. Yeah.
They're just
They were
cute.
so cute.
And how funny in the exact same spot
I
as
know.
ours. Like, isn't that so funny? So it's so cute. Jen, I think you made a huge point, especially as we get down into the lower zones. You all are starting to experience more seasons than we do in the higher zones, and just embracing it, I think, is such good advice. You know, grass is always greener on the other side. I look at your evergreens and I look at the fact that you're still growing pansies. It's cool enough to still grow pansies, and it's like, oh, that'd be so nice. So I just love that you're embracing the zone that you're in and the weather that you're in. So your garden is absolutely beautiful. It is so neat. Isn't it neat?
Yeah,
So thank you so much, Jen, for submitting. We appreciate it. Okay, the last garden we're gonna go see is Cheri's garden. Cheri lives in Boulder, Colorado, and I wanted to include Cheri's garden because she has a very interesting take on pest control. So let's watch.
Hi, Janey. Welcome to my garden. My name is Cheri, and I am in Zone 6A, just outside of Boulder, Colorado. And one of the things I thought I'd share with you first off is that one of the things I love most about my garden and gardening in general is just creating seating areas to find places to relax and find peace in the garden. We spend so much time working in our gardens, and we need to find time to find peace. We have a couple of ponds in the garden. Hollyhocks over there are having a happy day. This swing, I spend so much time in this swing. But here is my garden. We'll step into it for a few minutes here. But this is the gazebo that we just put in. My husband and I put it up. And you'll also find in my garden many volunteers. All these sunflowers here, every year they volunteer in this rock bed, which is just lovely. And most volunteers I allow to stay. Of course, some I have to send on their way because there are just too many of them. But yeah, like in my pansy bed, this is actually my lettuce bed. But this year, I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened. They all seeded last year, and I have so many pansies throughout the garden, which I've decided I'm going to press them, do some flower pressing. I've never really done that before, so the time is now. And I'm going to do that. So I've got this bed, which again, I mean, just the pansies. Aren't they just the most gorgeous? I mean, they're mostly violas at this point. And this is my herb bed, which I have speaking of volunteers, an enormous amount of borage that is coming up that I'm going to really have to cut back. Because one thing with borage that I have learned, it definitely self-seeds a lot. But we have a lot of chives and strawberries and all those good things. One thing I love to say too is that what you will find in my garden is love. Yeah, because I think as gardeners, we all feel the love, and that's how our gardens thrive. These are my daisies. These daisies have been growing, pretty much taking over this bed. I do have poppies in the spring that come up, and then the daisies make their way. And some more volunteers over here. And then we've got our artichokes and lavender together. I did grow the artichoke from seed. And Janey, I'm so sorry that you lost your artichoke to those darn gophers. That is terrible. We usually will get 1 or 2 flowers out of the artichoke, and that is about it. We did plant an evergreen tree in here, and I do like some of the kids' old toys to put around the garden. But adding this evergreen tree has just been a game changer. And One mistake we did make is to put these aspen trees a little too close to the garden, but you know how it goes in gardening sometimes. What done is done is done. New straw flower I just got the other day. What else do I want to show you? This Jerusalem, well, my tomatoes. Got to show you my tomatoes, which I have a whole row of zinnias coming up there. I grew these from seed indoors, started them about March, and they're just really doing very, very well. Yarrow going crazy over there. Sunflowers starting to pop. This Jerusalem cross has been just really magnificent this year. And the other thing I wanted to show you was these onion flowers. I grow onions primarily for the flower. I just don't do that many veggies. This is basically my one and only veggie bed where I have kale and a few others, some sorrel over there and a few things, peppers. But I just love these onion flowers. They're one of my favorites. One of the things I'll show you back over here, which talks about the nemesis in my garden. And that is this little contraption here, which you might say, Cheri, what is that? It is a grasshopper catcher. I have a completely organic garden. And so I will, we have had a lot of trouble with grasshoppers the last, I want to say 4 or 5 years. And we ended up we had a split rail fence. We have 2 acres here. And we had a split rail fence here. I'll try not to go too fast to make you dizzy, but here around the garden was a split rail fence. And since the grasshoppers were over in the field, I mean, it almost decimated my garden. So we ended up putting up this steel panels all around the garden. Now I still get grasshoppers in here, to be sure, because, you know, they jump. But I just catch them, put them in soapy water, and it helps a lot. But I do have to put up with a lot of holes in my leaves, etc. The other thing that I absolutely love is heuchera. I love the flowers from the heuchera. I'm starting to grow more of them over here in this perennial bed. And one I just got the other day, the purple in it is just magnificent. So that is my garden. Janey, I know this was longer than I'd hoped and cut how you need to cut, but I so appreciate the opportunity to share this with you.
Okay, thank you so much, Cheri. That was so neat to see. And it's neat to see what you do about the grasshoppers, because I know that that's a really big problem for a lot of people. And I never know what to tell people about grasshoppers. But I love your idea of kind of blocking them out, of like physically blocking them out of your garden. And of course, nothing is 100%, but I love that that's allowed you to get it under control. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. What did you like?
I like their dogs in the pond.
The dogs were very cute, and all your seating areas were beautiful.
I liked the ponds and the makeshift water fountain that you made at the start.
Yeah. And
your flower beds were so pretty.
Super pretty. You are obviously a gardener's gardener. Thank you for sharing with us. We appreciate it so much. All right, everyone. So that is going to be it for Show Me Your Gardens Zone 6. We had so many wonderful submissions. Even now, I had to take some off just because we were out of time for the video, but I loved them all, and I will save those videos and hopefully show them whether on Facebook or Instagram or on another video here on YouTube. So a huge thank you. Again, I'll link everybody's socials down below. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.